Hello again, everybody. I'm Jeff Opens Cards. If you've been keeping track of my channel here, my uploads, you'll know I have recently claimed and surveyed my entire region on Splinterlands, region number 74, Moa's Deep. So this is my land region surveying recap for you guys who have been waiting for it. Hopefully it's more than 0 of you. If not, oh well. I don't plan for this to be super long, but I want it to be in-depth enough, but we'll see how it goes. So let's just dive in here. So start off on the Splinterlands side here. Here you can see my region. I realized eventually that there's different settings here to the side, so I can make it so you can actually see the map as well. Just kind of bounce back and forth here. You can see, I feel like the water, especially like up here, the river like ends up being like shifted over, because right here's where you see the river, but these 3 plots were the river plots. Just something I noticed where like it seemed like it wasn't perfectly on top of it, if that makes sense. Basically just a little bit out of alignment. Not sure it really does that throughout the entire map. Like down here it looks more accurate, but I just know like after we claimed the first 1 to 3 tracks, I know I was like, oh, that the river plots are next to the river, but I digress. So here you can see all the different land types. So the dark red is occupied. The blue is magical, and the green is normal, and the yellow, gold, whatever, those are the tracks and castle, which castle ended up being, was it tract 8? Is it this one? I should know this by now. If I click on it correctly. Yep, so there's my castle right there, and the canyon plot type, geography type for the breakdown, which is actually my most common geography in the entire region. Coincidence or not, I guess it's the most likely scenario, but still based on the 22.5% I have, which I'll change my view in a second to see that. It's most likely, but not more likely than anything else, if that makes sense. And I'll do the breakdown of like the different plot types as far as like occupied magical and stuff separately here. Just showing what I can show on the map here first and foremost, but we'll use other resources and a spreadsheet for other things here as well. Here you can see the rarity breakdown, which obviously I'm not gonna like count the plots. And I don't know, oh, there we go, got to go away. So let's see. So here the rarity color, now if it's the like more mustardy looking color, those are the legendary plots, and the keeps and castles, the mythic plots, are the more standard yellow or golden color that kind of matches the flag more. And obviously purple is epic, and blue is rare, and the gray or silver, however you want to phrase it, are the commons. The expected breakdown, not factoring magical and occupied. If you do 100 plots at a time, what you're guaranteed is at least 20 rares, 4 epics, 1 legendary, and 1 keep or castle. Actually not guaranteed the keep or castle, but if you're opening an entire track, then you would be. But if it's 100 random plots, then you would not be guaranteed a keep or a castle, I don't believe. So that means you're going to get at most 75 commons per 100. And again, I'll show you the breakdown of how we did in just a second here. So, go back to there. So the thing is, everything I need to show you guys on the map except for the geography breakdowns, which, okay, I can scroll down there. So let's go like that, and so geography breakdowns, hopefully it's big enough for you guys to see. I'll read off to you as well, though. Canyon was our most common at 22.5%, forest 21.1%, river 17.3%, everything else 39.1%, which you can see here. I won't read all these. Tundra 16.7%, then a drop off to desert 8.2%, then another drop off caldera and plains 3.7%, and so on and so forth. The only geography types we got 0 of is Badlands and Mountain. And we got 3 hills, 0.3%, 9 lakes, 0.9%, and so on. One reason I claimed this region when it was the next claimable region was because it looked like it had pretty diverse land types. Basically, the white up here is going to be mostly tundra, which it was. I got rivers, some ended up being lake. So I could tell I had a lot of colors, different colors on here. It wasn't, all desert or all mountains or whatever. So time will tell if that ends up being a good strategy or not. Maybe it'll prove to be better if you're very dominant in 1 to 3 different geographies, or maybe it's best to be as well-rounded as possible. Time will tell. Time will tell, and will be different as we get through different phases and progressions of land overall as well. So jump over to peak monsters here. Here is all of my land. You can see here 1,000 plots. I did have 8 extra random plots, but I did end up selling those. So I now have only my region, nothing more, nothing less. You can see here, unsurveyed, nothing, everything is surveyed. So for the 1,000 plots, our breakdown for rarities ended up being 727 commons. So just move the decimal over one spot if you want to know the percentage. That's 72.7% were common. For rare, we got 207, so 7 more than what was guaranteed. For epics, we got 46, 6 more than what was guaranteed. Legendary was definitely a disappointment, and if you saw one of the videos, but not all of them, I realized like a tract or two later, I think it was in tract 7, I could be misspeaking. I thought I had 2 legendaries, but there's just so much time between getting the keep and the legendary that when I got the legendary, I was thinking the keep was a legendary earlier, but it was just 1 legendary. So while the average breakdown, if I sell that open, so yeah, let me just refresh it to make it as current and accurate as possible here. Got that changed? Nothing, I don't think. So nothing much being surveyed right now, I guess. But you can see legendaries 1.18%, which basically means 1% means you get 1 per tract. The 0.18% basically means 1 in about 6 tracts, you should get a second legendary. So we should have gotten 11, or possibly even more likely 12, but we only got the bare minimum of 10 legendaries. So that was rather disappointing. Where am I? Right here. You can see here two of them, it'd be magical. We got an earth and a fire, but no legendary occupied plots, unfortunately. And then go to our mythics. Of course, we got 9 keeps, 1 castle. That was basically guaranteed. It could not be anything else. As I was saying within my tract reveals, once we got through the first, since we didn't get the castle early, the longer it took is like, okay, now I want the castle being like the 10th tract. And if I got through 9 tracts with no castle, then I would have done the unstable totem for tract 10 as well to guarantee it to be on the castle plot. Don't know how much of a difference I'll end up making, because in the last town hall, I believe it was mentioned that like they weren't even sure yet about how or if totems would work on keeps and castles at all. So I assume the unstable totem will have a benefit there, which I think it makes mention of that white paper. I don't want to make this too long. You guys can reference that as well. I don't have it all memorized completely front to back just yet, but I have a pretty good bearing overall. But also you can see here, got a not sure it matters, but got a pretty good diversity of types. So we got 3 canyons, including our castle. But other than that, are they all unique? 2 rivers. So yeah, just 1 plains, 1 desert, 2 rivers, 1 caldera, 1 forest, 1 tundra, and then the 3 canyons. So 1, 2, 3. That's what, 7 different land types or geographies within the 10 keeps and castles. Again, don't know if that will make any difference because I don't know. Then let's go to our magical and occupied. Magically, we got 133 deeds. 120 was the guarantee, 12 per tract, or 12 per 100 plots redeemed at the same time. So 13 extra. And we started really strong, which I'll show you in my spreadsheet in a second here. We had, I think it was 20 magical plots in our first tract. So we started really strong on the magical front. But we had a lot of 12s thereafter, which again, I'll show you the spreadsheet next. Let's see, actually. So of that, 102 were common. 24 are rare. 5 are epic, including a dragon, and 3 earth. So once the magical essence type matters, I guess I'll be kind of earth down it. Because I think one legendary was 2, wasn't it? Yeah, the earth and fire. So I'm going to be very magically earthbound, I guess. For better or for worse, that is what I will be specializing in, I guess, once that becomes a thing. And then go to our occupied plots. We were guaranteed 30. We got 35. And of that, 27 were common. 8 were rare. Which means epic and legendary. Big old goose egg. Which is very unfortunate. We were definitely not guaranteed a legendary one. Well, we weren't either guaranteed either, but legendary you get less than 1 legendary occupied per 2 regions on average right now. Go back to these percentages. You can see here 48 occupied versus 112 castles. So, yeah, it's obviously more rare. Occupied epic, though, 193, which there's more of those than legendary magical, which we got 2 of, and almost double what there are of castles. So, kind of surprised we didn't get any occupied epics. And like I said, I was not expecting legendary occupied, but that's like the main chase I was hoping to get, since that was the best or the most rare thing you could get, and thus the biggest chase item by default. And just while we're here as well, like I said, I'm going to be specializing in Earth, which unfortunately looks to be one of the more common ones. Actually has the most common types. It is tied for second most rares. Death has 13 more rares. It has 1 less epic than Fire, which has the most. And it has the second most legendaries. And Fire has the most, which is the other one I got. So I don't know that any of the non-dragon ones are supposed to be more rare than the other one. Just that's the way RNG has worked out so far. There is still 25.9% of land not surveyed. So that could balance out more, excuse me. Yeah, the dragon plots definitely have the least across the board of all types. Only 1 less epic than water, though. So water epics are kind of unusually rare, and magical, death, legendary, and life are kind of unusually rare as well, I guess you could say. Anything else I want to show on this? I guess also show you here. Here's the land type breakdowns. 6.52% for bog, 6.19% for mountain, which we didn't get, and these are all under 7% as well. But so yeah, mountain is currently the rarest land type, and the most common land type at 8.17% is desert. I guess one thing I could have done, which maybe I'll do in a separate video, or maybe someone else will ultimately, is kind of, well, I know there's going to be potentially more specific than like just stone or ore, might be like gold and silver and stuff or whatever. Just go through and add up, like, because more than one different geography type can create the same resource. So more than one of these will create grain, even beyond 1.5. More than one of these will create ore, etc. So see what the breakdown is that way, if that kind of balances more, but not sure. But I think that's everything I want to show on that one. I think I broke down everything on there I wanted to. So now, next will be the spreadsheet. So I'll show you this is where I got the data from. Peak monsters, I basically just I went through each rarity and land type, and I just took the lowest on the market. I didn't notice any like major outliers. The exceptions being like the highest end stuff. I rounded down and used values that I know things are sold for. So you'll see in a second. Well, let me just go to it now because that's what I'll show you where I'm getting the information from. So let's go to our spreadsheet. So this is all the data you want. You may have just jumped ahead. Here is my complete breakdown of all of my land by tract. And you can see my overall region is down here. So I got all the floor values in here. So the only ones that are not the current floor values are the keep, the castle, and I believe the occupied legendary. Everything else is what the current cheapest on the market is. So hard to say if that is actually the fair market value, because not sure what it's actually sold. Actually, legendary I round down to. I think the cheapest legendary right now is $998, $999. I had 900 because I know I've seen $900 legendary plots. I don't know if they got pulled or actually sold, but decent chance that at least one is sold for about $900. So seems like a fair number to use. Keeps, cheapest in the market right now is about $3,000. They don't seem to be super liquid, so I rounded down a little bit further to $2,500. And I'm pretty sure it's pretty well-known knowledge for those that are paying attention right now that a castle sold recently for $16,000. And the buyer put it back in the market at, I believe, $25,000. So right now, the cheapest, if you want to buy it right now, is $25,000 US. But it recently sold for $16,000, so that's the value I put in here. Magical 3K, I think it then jumps higher. Don't know what any have actually sold for, so that could be an outlier that's too high. And we do have 2 of them, so it's going to skew my overall number here by, if you make that close epic, make it 1,000, it's going to change it by 4,000. Not a huge difference in the scheme of things, but and And I believe just a couple days, well, I'm recording this on April 19th. I believe just a day or two ago, I think yesterday, a legendary occupied plot sold for $6,000. Cheapest in the market right now, I want to say, is like 25 or something. But those hadn't moved prior. So 6K gives you a fair estimate there. Doesn't affect my numbers because I didn't get any. Same with the epics. But hopefully you get the idea there. So without breaking down everything entirely here, well, you can see here on my breakdown of different types. I just showed you the total via peak monsters, like total number of common stuff. I didn't break down there by natural, magical. Well, for not natural at least, but can see here the total breakdown. So again, this is the region, the grand totals. Everything else is by tract. So using the floor values, not factoring for market fees or anything like that though, and also not factoring for things like because I have 3 tracks that I got the billion in a box and the unstable token and the time crystals. Actually, all of my plots, I believe, I have the billion in a box on. Right? Right? Let me double check that. I should know this. So this one. Dun. Actually, so let's just go. So keeps, yeah, all my keeps have been in a box, as is my castle. So yeah, all of my plots have been in a box, which should add at least $7 to $10 of value to the plot. But you know, that's extra cost I had too, so I'm not worried about that for my spreadsheet purposes here. All right, so then just bounce back here to my spreadsheet then. So yeah, so using floor values, again, not factoring for any of the upgrades, bonuses, whatever I'll call it, on there for my value. My worst tract, it's actually a tie, track 7 and track 10 were my worst, at a current market floor value of $14,957. That would mainly change if you lower the keep values. Everything else I feel like should be pretty decent. Like the floor value for commons and rares of all types, I feel like should be reasonably established, where maybe you got to undercut the floor by like 5 to 10% at most to like get a quicker sale. Like if I list a common plot for like $59 right now with nothing on it, billion box, etc., I feel like it would sell pretty quick. That'd be 10% below floor. Just an example. Granted, if you lower the floor by 10%, then you're down to about 13,500 on this number. But right now in the marketplace, we want to go to there. So if we go to the market, other items. So right now the cheapest land tracked on the marketplace, again, this is about 2 p.m. Central Time on April 19th. 13,500 is the cheapest tracked. 150,000 is the cheapest and only region on the market. So one reason I have the spreadsheet here, not financial advice for you or myself, just like to have a guide to see like how good of a deal these prices are based on current land prices, based on what I got in my region, what the guaranteed pull rates are, all that kind of stuff. So there's actually a couple that are close to value here, 13.5, 14, and 14. So I've kind of been eyeing those, just, wanting to, open more things, because, it's always fun to just, casually buy and open something that's, $14,000, because, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, basically it looks like those might actually be pretty good values right now, based on how I did it. Because again, my worst, my worst tract was 15,000, and that's rounding down on the keeps and stuff. And I didn't get any of the highest end things. So like if you say a keep is $1,500, then my worst tract was still $14,000. And not much else should change too much, in my opinion. At least not like quickly. Like, yes, markets will market and things will ebb and flow. It's possible in a week from now, if I update the floor values, this number could drop below 14,000. It's possible it could balloon to 17 or 18,000 for my worst tract. Time will tell. But overall, you can see the tracks are pretty consistent. All right, we got the two that are exactly at 14,957. We've got a 15, call it a 15.1, a 15.3, a 15.5, and then the rest are over 16. So it's like that's kind of like one tier, and the next tier up is all over 16.5. So over $1,000 increase from that one to the next lowest. So yeah, then we got these two almost identical. The first two tracks did 16,773 and 16,776. We got 16,814. So those three are all basically identical. Then we got a 17,101 is our best tract that didn't have our castle. Obviously, our tract with the castle is our strongest tract at almost $30,000. Didn't have anything else like extra special. It had two extra occupies, but they were all common. We got the bare minimum of 12 magical. One was epic anyway. But yeah, we didn't really get anything like extra that was particularly special. So for a tract with a castle, this I feel like is a lower end tract for that stipulation. And then if I hide, I gotta go to, let's see. So just above my head here, without even factoring magical and occupied plots, go a little further. Basically, this is the worst case scenario. Well, actually, worst case scenario would be, without playing the EVs, you get a keep, you don't get a castle. If you somehow got no magical, no occupied, and you open a tract, you are getting a floor value right now of 10,875. So even if you're someone that wants to say a magical and occupied plot is worth the same as a natural plot of the same rarity, you're at 10,875. And since 12 are magical, so let's just see. So let's quickly go here. So if we take our floor value of magical, subtract our floor value of natural, times that by 12, that's 2,280 you gain. Because again, you're guaranteed 12 magical plots. So if they're all common, that's 2,280. You're guaranteed 3 occupied. So do that same math. The 498 minus the 65, times that by 3. That would give you an extra 1,300. So that plus that plus that. So basically, the absolute worst possible tract you can get right now, if you're buying and opening a tract, using floor values on the market, 14,454. So if you were to do that hypothetically, sell it all in the marketplace at the floor value, 95% fee, you're at 13,731.30. So basically right now, hypothetically, I could buy the tract that's on the market for $13,500, claim and survey it, and if I got the worst possible tract, which would be 75 commons, which would include 12 magical commons and 3 occupied commons, 20 rares, all natural, 4 epics, all natural, 1 legendary, natural, and a keep, obviously no castle. It would be $13,731.30 at floor value after the 5% marketplace fee. Again, that's the worst case scenario. If you take kind of my more average number here of the 16,773, if we just take that and multiply it by 0.95, we're at 15.9. So I feel like if you claim and survey a tract right now that has a chance at a castle on it, at least, well, even that, like, that's kind of the average or kind of the median. Well, no, I guess the middle would be more like 16 flat, but basically I feel like the 3 cheapest tracks in the market right now, April 19th, I believe the expected value of those plots is safely higher than what they're listed for. So, not financial advice. If it was, I would be jumping on them faster myself right now. Maybe by the time I even post this video, maybe I will have bought one of them if I move some assets around. It's possible. But I also don't know that I want to go deeper in land because it's already a pretty strong percentage of my overall Splinterlands ecosystem portfolio. And I don't want... You can be diversified pretty well just within the Splinterlands ecosystem, especially now with things like Genesis League and Tower Defense coming soon and stuff like that. So you got land, you got cards, which you could almost say now is an extension land, depending on how you look at things. Packs, the tokens, SPS, namely GLX for Genesis League and their cards, soon the Tower Defense cards once you can open those packs and play that game. So try not to be too high a percentage in any one sliver of the overall ecosystem. But I am pretty all in on Splend's ecosystem as a whole, at least in terms of things crypto related. As I rarely even like log into my Top Shot and stuff. I should probably, I debate if I should like liquidate that stuff or just let it sit and hope that there's a bull run that brings that with it and something I can get more value for it. But it is what it is. But I'm getting kind of off tangent now, so I think I've kind of said everything I need to say. Hopefully you found value in this. I'll probably make sure you follow me on Twitter if in the event I happen to pick up a track on the market or something, especially before this video is live. I'll tweet out so you don't think I'm like trying to manipulate things or anything. I mean, I'm not. But I don't want you to think like I did this in the breakdown just because I was going to buy a tract. I don't currently plan to. If I see a tract hit the market lower than the 13.5, it would become much more attractive if the floor prices don't change in the meantime as well. But I don't know. Like I'm tempted just that off chance I get another castle or maybe I get an occupied epic or legendary. Which, sorry, one more thing. Speaking of epic and legendary occupied. Funny story. So the 8 extra plots that I had. Let's go to land. We want to go to, I think it was, Mandar Camden. 65. So the plots I had were all right in here. It was all 5 from here to the right until you get to the border, or what do you want to say, and then these 3. I sold 3 on the marketplace. I sold 5 to someone directly. So again, it was these 5 and these 3. The first plot that I didn't own, like the first one that got claimed after me, was this one. Whoops. Now I'm confused. Let's go rarity. Okay, I must. 1, 2, 3. Well, wherever they fell, this was the first plot that I didn't own. This was the first plot claimed after I claimed. And it's a legendary occupied. Now, RNG being what it is, like, in the event that I had claimed 9 plots and this plot was mine, once I claimed it, doesn't mean it would have been a legendary occupied. That's not how RNG works. It's just based on who opened it, when they opened it, all that good stuff. So I still find it comical that my entire region, I got no legendary occupied, but the very first plot that got claimed after my 8 plot claim was legendary occupied. And even more funny. So I sold 3 of my plots on Marketplace. The first one that sold was this one that's currently listed for sale. You see it's purple. That's an epic occupied. So the first plot that I sold on the Marketplace, the buyer surveyed it, presumably as a one-off, and they hit an epic occupied. Again, that's something I got 0 of in my entire land region. So I found that all very comical and hilarious and also very depressing that the first plot that I didn't keep, no pun intended, it wasn't a keep, but the first plot I sold was an epic occupied, and the first plot that was claimed after my claim was a legendary occupied. So I'm curious to see what these 4 plots end up being once the new owner surveys those. But yeah, it's interesting. And this is also a plot that I had that ended up being a rare natural. So, and I think this one was mined as a common natural, and or this one. I think this one was mine. So I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then those 2. So yeah. So far, there's 4 plots surveyed of the 8 that I owned. 2 are common, 1 is rare, and 1 is a epic occupied. And the first one claimed after my claim, legendary occupied. So hopefully you find some humor in that as well. It's probably more funny for you guys since it wasn't in or surrounding your plots, but It happens. It happens. That's RNG for you. But hopefully you guys found value in this. It ended up being longer than I thought it was going to be. Maybe. So subscribe if you're not already. Rock, smash that like button. And I'll see you next time. Whenever and wherever that may be. Including my region. Moa's Deep. If I let anybody in. Ever. I don't know.